Earlier in the newscast, we told you about Hays County's fight to keep prayer inside the county commissioner's courtroom. The issue of legality was raised after an organization complained that using Christian words like Jesus or Christ during the opening prayer was unconstitutional. We want to continue this debate. Joining me right now is Jonathan Saenz from the Liberty Institute. Jonathan, thanks for being here.
Great to be with you.
Do you think they were breaking the law by saying these prayers?
Oh, I'm not aware of anything that Hays County was doing that was illegal. I mean, it seems to me they're doing right within what the law allows them to do. Look, we have an over 200-year history of legislative prayers, of legislative bodies starting the prayer. That happens at the Capitol here in Austin, in the Senate, the House. And in addition to that, you've seen these scare tactics from these groups, a lot of them that don't want religious freedom. They want to censor people's free speech, and particularly focusing on if they say certain words like Jesus. We're not aware of anything as far as the law saying that you have to have some type of ban on certain things. As a matter of fact, what the Supreme Court has said is if legislative bodies and the government gets into dissecting and saying you can only say certain words or getting into the content of your prayer, that's when you run afoul of the Constitution.
This group, part of their point was the specificity of the prayer, Jesus, Christ, as opposed to God, Creator. And they say that by saying Jesus or Christ, you're sort of promoting one particular faith over another, which is against the Constitution. That's their point. Do they have a point at all?
They don't have a point. I mean, their point really is to cause confusion and muddy the waters for elected officials that are just trying to do the right thing and that are trying to do something that has a 200-year history in our country of doing. And so this is a special activity that occurs. That's a part of the beginning of the meeting. So Hays County is following the law by doing this, and there's a lot of freedom here. And so the notion that just saying words like Jesus or Christ somehow take this into an illegal area is not true. That's what these groups wish the law was, but that's currently not the law. So what they're doing is trying to intimidate and hoping that counties and government officials will back down. There's no reason to back down. We've offered our legal services free of charge. We've worked on these issues in other counties across the state. There's a lot of law here and a lot of strength and support for them to continue to do this. They're not running afoul of the Constitution. And if anything, we have this type of religious liberty. There's no reason that Jesus should be off limits in a government building.
Why is an invocation so important in the first place?
Well, you know, we have this history, though, of solemnizing the event, to ask the Almighty, to call on a greater power.
Oh, yeah, you said the Almighty. Are you talking about Jesus? You're talking about God.
Well, that's part of our religious liberty. If people want to come in, if they want to say Jesus, they want to pick another deity, they can do that.
You've got a particular group saying, this particular God, well, we have other gods. What about our gods?
Well,
would they not feel intimidated going before that body?
No one's denying expressions of other gods, and no one's denying them.
Well, they're not denying it, but it's not being said.
Well,
what's being put out there is one particular vision, one particular faith.
Well, I don't know that that's the case, and I don't. And our point is the law allows there to be freedom, depending on what the speaker wants to say on that issue. If we get into saying that you can only invoke certain deities or striking them down and censoring people because they decide to use Jesus or some other name, that's religious discrimination. That's censorship. And so there's freedom there to, you know, if people were to bring up something else and nothing's stopping them from doing that. And so there's this notion, though, that somehow the Hays County is doing something wrong, and I'm not aware of that. But in addition to that, this group that sent a letter threatening a lawsuit, they want to shut down just legislative prayers in general, even if they don't make specific references. So their goal is really going way off in a different direction.
This is sort of part of a general strategy of theirs, you're saying.
It's not, and it's not just about specific reference, it's also about just legislative prayers in general. And the Supreme Court has been absolutely clear that you can start these type of governmental meetings with an invocation. With that 200-year history, it is sound, it's constitutional, and these lawsuits are just frivolous.
And they're not slowing down. This one continues. Jonathan, thanks for talking.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.